The envelope was thin, too thin to contain anything good. It arrived on a Thursday morning, slipped between grocery flyers and a reminder for my next dental cleaning. I almost tossed it out with the junk mail until I noticed the letterhead, Harrington and Lowe, attorneys at law. For a moment, my heart lifted. Maybe it was something about George's old pension, or a final settlement from the company he had worked at for 30 years. Even 2 years after his death, the paperwork never seemed to end. But when I slid a knife through the top of the envelope and unfolded the letter, my hands began to tremble. Dear Mrs. Whitaker, we are writing to inform you of recent actions taken regarding the estate of the late George Whitaker. Your son, Daniel Whitaker, has requested limited access to joint accounts and property titles, citing your inability to manage financial affairs independently. I read it twice before I understood. My inability? I felt a chill run through me as I sank into the kitchen chair. The letter shook in my hands. Daniel, my son, my only child, was trying to take over my life. After George's death, Daniel had been my savior. He took time off work to help with the funeral arrangements. He handled the death certificates, the insurance claims, the endless bureaucratic nightmares that come with grief. He told everyone, I just want to make sure Mom's okay. And I believed him. He even moved back into the house for a while. Just until you get used to being alone, Mom. It was nice at first. The house didn't feel so empty. He made coffee in the mornings, fixed the squeaky gate, even mowed the lawn the way his father used to. But slowly, the tone began to shift. One day, he asked for access to my online banking, just to simplify bill payments. Then he suggested putting his name on the house deed for safety reasons. He said he was thinking of my security, my peace of mind. I didn't question it. He was my boy, but the kindness started feeling more like control. It began with small things. He told me to stop driving at night, said my eyesight wasn't what it used to be. Then he started answering the phone for me, saying, Mom doesn't need to deal with that stuff anymore. When the neighbors invited me to dinner, he told them I was tired. When the church ladies asked me to join a trip, he said I wasn't up for travel. I didn't notice how quiet my life had become until one afternoon I realized I hadn't left the house in 2 weeks. Grief makes you compliant. It dulls your instincts, and Daniel knew it. Now, staring at that legal letter, everything clicked into place. The refinancing of the house, the truck he'd sold to save taxes, the joint accounts I couldn't access anymore. When Daniel came home from work that evening, I held the letter up to him. What is this, Daniel? He didn't look surprised, just tired, almost annoyed. Mom, you weren't supposed to see that yet. Yet? I whispered. He sighed and rubbed his temples. Look, it's nothing bad. It's just a precaution. You've been a little forgetful lately, and I don't want something to happen to you, or your money. Forgetful? I said. Daniel, I remember the day you were born. I remember the weather, the smell of your father's aftershave when he first held you. That's not forgetfulness. That's memory. He leaned against the counter, his expression tightening. You're being dramatic, Mom. I'm trying to help. You're trying to control me, I said softly. His eyes flashed. I'm trying to protect what's mine. The words hung between us like smoke. What's yours? I repeated. He looked away. Everything you have will be mine eventually. I'm just speeding things up. I felt my heart splinter. He wasn't my son in that moment. He was a stranger wearing his face. That night, sleep wouldn't come. The shadows on the ceiling moved like ghosts of all the choices I had ignored. At 3 a.m., I pulled down the old metal box from the closet, the one where George kept our important papers. The house deed, the bank statements, the insurance policies. I went through every page, line by line. My name missing here, a new signature there, transactions I didn't recognize, $100 to an electronics store, $900 for consultation services. Every withdrawal had Daniel's fingerprints. By dawn, I wasn't crying anymore. I was angry. I called the lawyer listed on the letter. His name was Mr. Lowe. When I explained what was happening, there was a pause on the other end. Then his voice changed, professional, alert. Mrs. Whitaker, do not sign anything. Do Do not give him any more access. And please come to my office tomorrow morning." When Daniel woke up, I was waiting for him in the kitchen. "Where did you take the money from the joint account?" I asked. He froze. "What are you talking about?" "You know what I'm talking about." He tried to laugh it off. "Mom, you're overreacting. I used some for bills, some for repairs. Everything's for the house." "The house that you've already transferred into your name," I said, holding up the documents. His face drained of color. "Where did you—" "Doesn't matter," I said sharply. "I trusted you, Daniel. I thought you were helping me, but you've been helping yourself." He slammed his hand on the counter. "You don't understand how hard it's been for me. You think I like living here? Taking care of everything while you sit around doing nothing?" I stood tall. "Taking care of me? You've been draining me dry." His voice lowered, cold now. "You're making a mistake, Mom. Without me, you can't manage. You'll lose everything." I looked him in the eyes and said the one thing I should have said years ago. Then I'll lose it on my own terms. At Mr. Lowe's office, the truth unraveled fast. Daniel had used my grief as a legal doorway, quietly filing forms to gain co-ownership and financial authority. It was cunning, methodical, and devastatingly personal. Mr. Lowe explained the next steps: freezing accounts, revoking authorizations, changing locks, and documenting every irregular transaction. It was a long process, and Daniel didn't take it quietly. He showed up at my house twice, pounding on the door, shouting that I was ruining his life. When I stopped answering his calls, he left angry voicemails, sometimes crying, sometimes threatening. One message ended with, "You'll regret this. Mom, I'm all you have." But I realized something then. He wasn't all I had. I had me. 3 months later, the case went to court. Daniel had filed a petition claiming I was mentally incompetent to handle my finances. He arrived in a tailored suit, polished and confident. His lawyer painted him as a devoted son, acting in his mother's best interest. I listened quietly, my hands folded in my lap. Then it was my turn. Mr. Lowe handed me a folder of evidence: transaction histories, property deeds, my medical and psychological evaluations confirming my full capacity. I stood before the judge, my voice steady. I trusted my son with my heart, my home, and my future. He took advantage of my grief, but I am not confused. I am not weak. I am simply a mother who believed love meant obedience. I was wrong. The courtroom fell silent. The judge looked at me for a long moment, then at Daniel. Her verdict was clear. Mrs. Whitaker is in full possession of her faculties. Her decisions are rational and lawful. This petition is denied in full. Daniel's jaw tightened. He didn't look at me as he walked out. When I returned home that day, the house felt different. Lighter somehow, as if it had been waiting for me to reclaim it. I sat in the living room, surrounded by silence. It wasn't lonely anymore. It was peaceful. Over the following weeks, I joined a book club, started taking painting classes, and even booked a small trip with a group of widows traveling to Italy. I opened a new bank account, in my name only. I changed the locks. I didn't hear from Daniel again. Through neighbors, I learned he had moved to another city, living in a small apartment. Maybe someday he would understand what love truly meant, but I no longer needed his understanding. One morning, as I sipped my coffee, sunlight streaming through the window, my eyes fell on a framed photo. George and me on our 40th anniversary, smiling, free. "I did it, George," I whispered. I finally stood up. The breeze through the window felt like his answer. And in that moment, I realized something simple, something profound. You can lose everything you thought mattered and still win your life back. Because freedom isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of control.